the last question that we'll take is a name that I could have sworn would come up in the show by now, and that is Bill O'Reilly, who lost his position.
He could have been our loser.
He could have been. Lost his position at Fox News, longtime cable news commentator.
Week, right?
And the reader wants to know, first of all, compares what O'Reilly's alleged to have done with what President Bill Clinton was alleged to have done, and wants to know exactly what was it that O'Reilly is accused of doing, and why is it such a big deal? Mary?
I would say that, this wasn't a case of one woman coming forward and saying that he sexually harassed her and that he was fired. This was repeat cases of different women coming forward, and not just, some people said, oh, he was just flirting. I would argue there's a difference between flirting and pressuring a subordinate to have sex with you or engage in a sexual relationship where they feel like their career is on the line. And some of these women, if you read some of the articles, said that they were punished because they did not have a sexual relationship with him. They weren't offered spots on the show, they were cut from the show, they were promised a job, didn't get the job. And I think you have to be aware that there's a position of power where somebody like Bill O'Reilly, who was making, what, $18 million a year, is going to have more power than somebody who's a contributor or trying to get started. And it sounded like he often took on a mentor role where he would kind of offer to take an attractive young woman under his wing and help them with their careers. And then it was, well, there's this. So I would say that there's a difference between flirting and basically being a serial sexual harasser.
Yeah, several things. His response was this was just because he was famous and people were targeting him and so forth. But there are other people at Fox News who are famous who didn't have this problem, Sean Hannity being the main one. You don't hear about problems with people like this.
I don't remember hearing about Greta Van Susteren or Megyn Kelly sexually harassing young male staffers.
And there's also the fact that Roger Ailes just recently had a very similar problem. So there's this perception, whether it's true or not, that Fox News was this haven for sexual harassment. So they had to deal with that. And, Rupert Murdoch's two sons who were coming and taking over Fox News with him wanted to deal with that. And then finally, there's a business aspect to this, and that is that the Murdoch family wants to buy Sky Sports and News in England, and they tried it once before and had to withdraw their offer, and they're going to be under a great deal of scrutiny as to what they're doing with Fox News when they have this application pending.
And I wouldn't underestimate the advertisers who, by the dozens, fled his show over the past week.
A lot of that as well. So there are two business aspects to this as well. And in TV news, that plays a big part.
When did the first complaint against him come forward? I think it was 2002.
2004 was when it was settled.
Okay. So I would say that it's not like he was just kind of fired immediately when somebody brought up an allegation. This was a long time.
5 allegations, a couple more that have come out since then. So I think it was the New York Times story that galvanized all of this by putting it all together to say $13 million that's been spent, 5 women in the past, and now others stepping forward.
And one particular accuser who never sued and was not under a non-disclosure,
right,
and went on and did interview after interview and wasn't after money. So she couldn't be accused of being a gold digger.
Right.
Kind of makes you wonder if maybe there's some more cases coming up or more.
One came forward just yesterday, a new one.
Yeah.